big, beautiful bill. How would that work out? Here's political strategist and the CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI, Brendan Steinhauser, is back on my Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line this morning. Brendan, welcome back to WHO Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. It's good to be with you.
Well, what do you think of the politics of this, Brendan? Is the big, beautiful bill a good thing or a bad thing for Republicans?
Well, I think it's a good thing, and I especially think if they break it down into the pieces that were major reforms and things that the American people like, I think they can make that case. But I want to start with what James Carville said on rural hospitals. You know, the big, beautiful bill actually increased funding for rural hospitals. It actually gave them a lifeline. So that's just plain wrong what he said there. But look, what did the American people do? They elected Donald Trump to secure the border, which he's done almost overnight, and there was a lot in the bill on that. They elected him to help get the economy back on track, which with tax cuts and regulatory reform, he's got us on track to do. I'm pretty confident that we're going to start to see a booming economy at the end of this year, at the beginning of next year. To reform programs like the Inflation Reduction Act, which is misnamed. It never did anything but increase inflation in the Biden administration. So they pulled back some green subsidies from that in the bill and reformed some other programs, whether Medicaid or student loans. So look, this was an election last year that was a rejection of the Biden agenda. And I think the president and Republicans in Congress passed this bill and reversed a lot of those policies. I think they should go and talk about it to the American people.
And Brendan, you just brought up a really interesting point, and it's aligning with what I'm thinking, which is the Trump administration has just announced this huge trade deal with the European Union. And I'm like you, I think the economy is going to start booming as we go into the fall election. And that's really going to be the talk of voters, isn't it?
I think so. You know, to paraphrase or quote James Carville himself, it's the economy, stupid. And I think that is where the focus is by Republicans in Congress and the president. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And so, we know history has shown in the first Trump administration what happens when you cut taxes, reduce regulations, and have a pro-growth agenda. And so if they do that again, which is exactly what they're working on right now, I think we're going to see that. And if the economy is where we think it could be by October of next year, then I think Republicans will be just fine.
You're listening to Brendan Steinhauser on News Radio 1040 WHO. So, Brendan, if there were to be a second big, beautiful bill, what do you think is the work that's left to do? What should the Republicans be working on?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think going back to tax reform for a minute, I think making some of the provisions in the first version of the One Big Beautiful Bill permanent, like no taxes on overtime and tips, would be a good thing to do to lock that in. I think continuing to work on border security and looking for opportunities to make sure that it is funded, fully funded, and that we're filling any gaps we need to fill on border security should be at the top of the agenda. And then, I do work on AI policy. I think AI can be a tremendous asset to our economy and to government efficiency. I want to make sure that this version allows states and the federal government to innovate with legislation, offers reforms and opportunities to protect our citizens from potential downsides of AI. But that's been talked about a lot with the president's unleashing of the AI action plan last week, which I've reviewed and looks really strong. So there's a lot of opportunities, I think, in this next version of the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Brendan Steinhauser, he's political strategist and the CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI, as he mentioned. Brendan, it will be really interesting to follow more of the artificial intelligence debate, and we'll be talking about that with you down the line. Thanks for joining us this morning.